soon. What's up, everybody?
What's cracking, people? Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Shoot, I don't know if this is working. Let me tell you. Oh, first of all, hey, Instagram. Hey there, you, the tube. Hey there, face the book. Hello, everyone. So glad to see you all, see you all, see you all. You know what? You're over here, YouTube. I've got you, Instagram. Everybody, I've got you on my other computer, hoping that you can see the show more clearly. So I'm just going to move this over, you guys.
She's so distracted. Hey, David Peterson. Good
Go
morning from
ahead.
tomorrow. I love that. From tomorrow. He's not wrong. He living in the future because that's Malaysia is in the future. That
There
whole
we go.
southern hemisphere is doing it. Jeannie, hey, what's up? Christopher Barrett, I appreciate you, bruh.
Prissy Poo.
Right?
Prissy
Good
Poo,
news
Prissy
today,
Poo.
right? That was good news today. We'll tell everybody about some stuff.
Oh, I can't
And
wait
that
to hear that.
was cracking. Hello. Yeah, man. It's beautiful out here at the beach. Wednesday. Killing.
Just making this a little bit bigger here. You know, you guys, I thought what I'd do is because whenever, and I'm sorry, Phil, to interrupt you. Hello, everybody.
Oh, no. Nothing to interrupt.
I thought what I do is because every week when I see the Instagram playback, it looks terrible. It just looks awful. And so what I did was I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put up my second computer. I'll play the show over there. And that's where I'll put the phone so it can view what we're doing. But you guys are just slightly like 3 seconds behind us. So it does not work. But all good. You're here now. And this is looking pretty doggone good. So I just got to explain that so you know why I'm moving, so we can keep it all flowing, keep it going.
I got you.
Hey, everybody. Hey, there's Sagano, Christopher, Annette, K9, everybody. Philly Willie, how's your week going, baby love?
I had a good week this week. Rachel and Kevin and our buddy Brett came in today for this volleyball tournament that we do every year here at the Manhattan Beach called the 6-Man Volleyball Tournament. It is wildness personified. I mean, I'm telling you, some of the coolest, most athletic, funniest, funkiest volleyball players you will ever see will be inhabiting the beach, Manhattan Beach, the pier, on Friday and Saturday. My daughter's team are the Horny Unicornies. Yes, the Horny Unicornies. That's her name. She's the manager. She's the owner. She runs it. They have people that support their effort and give them goods in order to, kind of further not only the name of the particular people who are supporting them, but also to give love to my daughter and their teammates because they're so good, man. They're so good. And they're so fun to watch. It's just the best time. Rachel loves doing it here. She comes back from Bloomington to get it done because that's where she's been working. And so our whole house is getting turned around for that. And tomorrow, they will descend. They will descend on this abode.
Man, you guys, it is packed down there in Manhattan Beach. OMG.
And on the day, there's going to be like 50. Yes, 50 women in amazing shape and bathing suits and fun. And it's just a party. This is a party. So I just love it. Love it.
That's so good, Phil. That's so good. I'm so glad.
That's what's happening.
You guys, such
how
good
you doing?
parents.
How was your week? You know what? Iona and I had a lovely lunch yesterday.
We had a lovely lunch.
Brother and sister lunch.
Yeah.
It was great.
It really was.
Really good.
It was so nice. We sat in the corner in the back in the dark, chatting.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah. The food was delicious.
Come on now.
A little adult beverage in the afternoon delight. It's
And just
fun.
chopping it up with your blood, and they
Yeah.
know things about you and feel certain things about you that no one else knows and feels. So it's really special. It was special to sit down with her.
It was good. I started a new gig today, Phil,
Oh,
and everybody. I started a new gig today with BET Plus. I have never worked. Let me see, have I? No, I've never worked for BET. So this was cool. So Tommy Davidson asked me to coach him on his new series called Varnell Hill, which is a character he created on The Martin Show years ago. And now
mm-hmm.
they're making a series out of it. Martin is going to make some guest appearance on it. And it is funny. It was terrific. Bentley Evans is the wonderful exec producer, writer, and director. And though everyone is so cool. Stacey Lyles is there as a
Mm-hmm.
producer. I mean, there are many,
Mm-hmm.
many, many people. And today was our first day, and I got to meet everyone and work with Tommy some, and it's cool. I'm looking forward to coaching him
Mm.
on this show.
Well, we've known Tommy for a long time, and both of
Yeah.
us have worked with him in various capacities. And I love him. We've had Tommy on our program,
Mm-hmm.
and he spoke about his upbringing and his past, and we've all got one. I mean, we've all got one, no matter who you are. I know people who love Tommy from all of his work on In Living Color and his stand-up work and his movie work, and I mean, he's a talented, genuine guy, and to hear his story and to hear the bumps and bruises along the way, what he's had to go through to
Mm.
get to who and where he is. Just a beautiful, beautiful cat, man. So
He
have fun on
really
this
is.
island.
I
They're very
will.
fortunate to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. More than a survivor. He's fabulous. It's really I'm looking forward to it. It's going good. I want to say hi too to David Peterson and Jeannie. I mentioned everybody else that I saw on here and Sagano and left you guys out. So I want you to know major love for everybody. And so the week has been good doing that. Been good doing that. Husband came
Mm.
back from a European tour with Stevie the Wonder. Whoo, they were everywhere.
Everybody
Everywhere.
knows that Iona's husband is Manyango Jackson, who plays percussion for Stevie Wonder. We all know this. Yes, we knew this. Yeah, the dude is. He is a force
Phenomenal.
of nature.
He's
Ooh,
he's
that
gonna
cat.
come on here as a guest too and play for us. He's been so busy, but he's gonna come on and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
He's one of them working musicians,
He's
people.
a working musician.
I mean, working. He
Hmm.
working.
Day
And
and night,
it's his
got me
life. I mean,
working.
if he's, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Youngo's in town, if he ain't working, he finding a gig. He
Oh,
finding a
he
gig somewhere.
my husband is the most positive person I know truly because when COVID happened, right before COVID happened, Young was saying, "Baby, my calendar is full. I've got more work right now than I've had in a long time." It was beautiful. COVID hit, live music all went away.
Mm,
I never heard him complain once. He
mm.
was in that studio of his. He practices every single day. He's always talking about getting better. But everyone who's brilliant, everybody who's working their craft is always talking about getting better. They've never arrived to perfection. They're always talking about getting better. And that's what he did. And he never, ever stops, even at the
He's
young
true
age of
inspiration.
B.
Bibbidi bibbidi. He don't care, but whatever. We'll let him say it when he's on. I don't
That's
blow the
right.
man's gig.
And today, Phil, well, we've got quite a snappy guest
Yeah, it
today.
ain't just you and me. Oh
Ooh,
no,
ain't just you
people,
and
you
me.
guys got a surprise coming.
Because this brother is full of information all up in the brain and in the heart and in the soul. And to give you, as you know, when Phil and I do this, to give you his resume or his biography, you know, that's not how we do it here. This is how we do it here. Whether in good times or bad, you need to take care of people. They are the lifeblood of your organization. They are your biggest advocates and supporters. Dr. Jarik Conrad.
I'm
Hey,
talking
My mother
about.
would be
hey.
proud. She would be proud.
Mention that right off top. I saw you had that on there. Think of your mother every day. That made me smile immediately.
And you see, that one got more time. I really slowed down
No,
that
I
one.
like that was good. That got me. I was like, that's good. I like that.
Dr. Jarik, what's up? So
Welcome,
glad to have you
welcome.
here.
Just so glad to be here. So glad to be here. Just even listen to you all's banter and everything beforehand. Just we'll get into I don't get a chance to do that anymore. We'll talk about that as we
Please,
get into
yeah,
our
yeah.
conversation.
We'll go where you want to go. That's always the way. That's always the best way we found.
So, Jarik, before we get into all the fabulous things you do, tell us about you. Where do you come from? How did you get from there to here?
Yeah. Well, how much time do we have?
We got
This is
we got a few minutes.
so I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois. So I don't know if any of your guests have heard of East St. Louis. Not
No,
not part
Illinois.
of St. Louis, Missouri, but East St. Louis, Illinois, on the other side of the river. East St. Louis has been described as America's Soweto. It's been described as the
Mm.
most distressed small city in America. So,
Mm.
challenging place to grow up, but a lot of wonderful people. Some of the best people I've known still today are people from East St. Louis. So, real interesting place to grow up, and I've been in and around and everywhere since then. And I'm here now in beautiful sunny California.
Oh,
Wow.
wonderful. How did you get? Now you've w- w- how did all of this come to you? The things that you do. You talk about emotional intelligence, which is fascinating to me. That was the first thing that drew me to you. Intercultural sensitivity, life coaching, executive coaching, plant-based nutrition. What was your journey to that? I understand looking at the information, but then speaking on it and advising others.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, this whole thing, it actually has to do with East St. Louis. So I was one of the
Mm.
people, I'm growing up in the projects in East St. Louis, and I had a whole lot of questions. Why are we here? Like, why do people think that this is kind of my future? Like, I'm destined to be here. Why are some people born in these situations and can't make it out? Other people can make, what is that? And so I had those questions really throughout my young life. I had those questions, and I came about emotional intelligence in 1995. Daniel Goleman wrote a book about emotional intelligence. I happened to read it. I was headed to graduate school, just in graduate school at that time, and all of a sudden, I thought I had an answer to a question that I got. The same question you asked. Well, when I was at the University of Illinois on an engineering scholarship, how did you get here? How did you make it out of East St. Louis? When I went to Cornell, how did you make it here? I didn't have an answer. My mother, cared a lot about me, made me feel like I could do anything. I had the answers that we typically give, but I never was really comfortable until I ran across emotional intelligence, stress management, impulse control,
Mm.
optimism, adaptability, flexibility, resilience, all these things. And I became convinced this is how I made it out of East St. Louis. There were other people who had good grades. I mean, sure, I had good grades and all that, but there were people who were talented and smart, but they would make a bad decision. One thing would kind of take their life in a different trajectory. And so I was convinced that people who come from difficult backgrounds have this thing called emotional intelligence. I took an assessment, I had high emotional intelligence, and I've been talking about it ever since. And I think it really translates in any aspect of life. The people that I've known who've been really good leaders in corporate America, really impactful leaders, they've had high degree of emotional intelligence. Coaches that I've known that have been really effective, they had a high degree of emotional intelligence. So that's kind of how that theme came about.
Mm.
Now I'll tell you this story. I might as well tell you people to get their tissue box ready.
Here we go.
This other story is how I connected this and this whole plant-based nutrition. So I am the only person in my immediate family left. So I mentioned I don't get a chance to banter with my siblings anymore because I don't have
Mm.
siblings anymore. I had three sisters and a brother. They're all gone due to chronic health issues. Now, when you hear East St. Louis, you think maybe some violent crime or something like that. No, it was chronic health issues, cancer, complications from diabetes, heart disease.
Mm.
And so that put me on this path to plant-based nutrition. I too had high cholesterol. I was skinny as a rail, like awkwardly skinny, but I had high cholesterol. And the doctors put me on a statin. I didn't want to be on a medication. And I said, well, what can I do? What can I do to kind of change my trajectory and change how I was eating? Became 100% plant-based. For people who may have heard other terms, 100% vegan. So no animal products whatsoever. I dropped my cholesterol from 299 to 155. This was
Mm.
about 17 years ago. And so every funeral I'd have to go to, I'm looking at not only my siblings that would sit there in that casket or lying there in that casket, but I'm looking around in the church and I see all these people struggling from obesity and just all these chronic health issues. And I know I'd made that change, and I'm like, well, what can I do to help people? Why won't they listen? Like I have all these studies that show if you make these changes, you can have these positive health outcomes. Why won't they listen? And then it hit me, man, it's the stuff you've been working on. It's emotional intelligence. You got to train people on emotional intelligence before you start telling them how to eat and they need to work out and all that. You got to get at the root cause. What is going, if they have low self-regard, you can talk all day about how often you need to work out and how many vegetables you need to eat. They can't do it. If they have issues with adaptability, they can't do it. If they're stressed out, they can't do it. And so that's how I ended up combining these ideas. So I don't talk about nutrition without first
Those
trying to get
things in place.
Mhm.
Right.
along.
Because it's a whole structure. Excuse me for looking at my phone. I wasn't looking at calls. I was looking at this phrase that they describe you as a people practitioner.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yeah.
That's what
Isn't
I
that
was looking for. I
interesting?
wasn't looking at a number or anything. I just wanted to make
yeah.
sure because I had never heard that before. But as we speak, I can see from where that comes
Mm,
because truly that is what you are exhibiting. You are a practitioner of people, their condition, what works them, what motivates them, what inspires them, what creates
Mhm.
in them the things that makes them them, right?
yeah.
And how do we modify that behavior? Just say no never works. Never
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
There's a sense of truth that you have to get to people. We were talking about the martial arts prior to coming on.
Yeah.
Teaching martial arts to people is one of the most difficult things because you're really teaching people how not to fight fighting. And that's a very primal thing. Your safety, pain hurts. So people don't want to get hurt. So they fear getting hurt. So I have to teach them not to fear that. That's behavior modification on the highest level. And the only way to do that is to give them certainty, is to
Yeah.
give them a structure of confidence, of self understanding. And then you go from there. Then all the skills come from that. You cannot teach a punch or a kick or a block or a bark without first explaining why, how, and that's what you're talking about. That's essential. We need it so badly.
Yeah, fear. You talked about fear. I mean, fear is still we have human beings haven't changed that much, right? Since the early days when it was us and the Neanderthals, and
Mm.
we're trying to figure things out. Saber-toothed tiger comes at us, we get the same fight, flight, freeze, and now they talk about fawn. We were like that back then. We're still like that now. Our brains have not changed. We're fundamentally the same people. We still have that amygdala that registers that instinct that we want to do something. So I think that we need to go back to the basics when we're trying to understand people. And we just our brains weren't necessarily designed to function in a modern society where you got too much information. It's
Well,
coming
we
at you
don't
fast.
need it any longer, right? It does. I understand the theory of the clever brain, right? Why are we the top of the food chain? We're not the biggest, we're not the strongest, have the sharpest teeth because the clever brain.
That's
We
right.
understood how to use this to survive, but we're
That's right.
still using it to survive in a way that we don't need it.
That's right.
So,
We
right, so we're
perceive things
creating this
where it's not.
crab barrel mentality, like I got to push you down to survive.
That's right.
That doesn't exist any longer. We
Mm-mm.
That's
can
right.
exist, we can coexist. We don't have to beat people over the head to take them out of their cave to then take over their territory. but we're
Yeah.
not working on those muscles. So we need people like you, Doc. We need you to help us see it from the truth perspective.
So, doctor, when we talk about using only 10% of our brain, so there's a whole other part of it we're not even connected to. Animals can do things like we all know dogs can jump on your chest. Why does he keep jumping on your chest? You're about to have a heart attack. Why does he
Yeah.
keep jumping on your lip? They have senses we're not even using.
Yeah. My fear. I want to. I'm going to finish optimistic, but sometimes you got to bring people down,
We're not
right?
finished yet. You can go to fear and then we'll go. We'll
Sobering.
go
That's what
around.
we. But I'm really concerned. In some ways, I think we have become a nation of adolescent adults. And what do I
Ooh.
mean? We're supposed to be, when we get into our mid 20s to late 20s, our brains are supposed to change, right? We're starting to develop these frontal lobes that help us to plan and execute against that plan, to know the right things to do and say. The critical thinking stuff is supposed to
Mhm.
happen around that. Now, ladies get there faster than we do, Phil. It's probably 30 something. Some of us still working on that. They get there faster than us.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they do.
my fear is that we are being suspended in this kind of a I'm not quite there yet phase. And there's a lot of evidence, in some ways people are growing up slower, but getting old faster.
Mhm.
Growing up slower, but getting old. So growing up slower, it's taking longer for them to move out, get a job, become self-sufficient, get a house, get married, have kids.
Drive a
The things
Start a
car.
that
family.
drive a car, the things that used to mark adulthood, those are getting pushed back. And then on the other side, we're getting early signs of Alzheimer's and dementia and people who physically can't walk anymore and stuff that used to only happen to, really elderly people. And so our productive years, it seems like it's shrinking. It's getting
Mhm.
squeezed in from both sides. So I think technology, with all its promise, is stunted our growth a
Yes.
little
It's
bit.
creating a filter.
Yes.
It's creating
It
a
is great.
filter between us and our essence. I just finished a script, and a friend of mine was saying, "Well, did you use Chat GPT?" I said, "Are you kidding me? Are you? Do you know who I am? No, 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 no. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna fall on my own." And I think you bring up so many good points. I'm sorry, Alan. This is so it just moves me so much. I think we bought the
No.
bill of goods.
Go ahead.
I think our society, our structure is telling us things and giving us coping mechanisms that they just don't work, because they're not about self awareness. They're not about emotional intelligence or maturity. It's more about acquisition. It's more about comparison. It's more about, there was this commercial on it. It's a lovely commercial, and that's the problem with it. It's a beautiful young black girl who is saying in her thought bubble, in her commercial, is her nice apartment, and she's thinking to herself, wow, I'm making good money, but am I creating wealth? And I thought to myself, that's the problem. It ain't about wealth. Are you
Mm,
happy? Are you enjoy? Are you
yeah.
fulfilled?
It's
Are
about
you getting
redefining wealth.
Right.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
What is it's
Right.
value, right?
Well,
What's valuable to us? The value that we're placing in these things, in this acquisition, in these followers, in this audience that we're trying to build because we want to be heard. It is what we were talking about earlier. It's existentialism. I exist based on your feeling about who I am. I
mhm.
exist. My value
Mhm.
is based on how you feel about me, as opposed to what I've developed within myself to stand on my own through it all. We're on a slippery slope right now with the technology.
Is it redefining or is it somehow going back to something that's simpler?
You
I
can never
feel
go back
I
though.
I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, just bringing in, we feel like we've advanced so far, and yet technology keeps us from communication with each other. We don't have to look at each other. How many times do all of us go into restaurants and people are on dates and they're on their phones? They're not
Yeah.
looking at and communicating. We have no coping mechanisms to have an argument without wanting to fight or without walking away saying, I'm right, as opposed to listening to each other. So that's what I mean when I say going back and kind of understanding some of the simpler things of life, redefining wealth. Wealth for us was family.
Yeah.
Wealth
It's a
from us
broader
was
definition.
Right. You read a good book or you saw a good movie, you had a conversation or you just went swimming that way, experiences. And now it really is the kind of car you drive. Do I have gold teeth or diamonds on my teeth?
Yeah,
There's no
no, it's
personal responsibility.
you mentioned something, Alan, and you said we've advanced, and I think here's the dilemma. I think we're at a crossroads. Technology has absolutely advanced, right? We could send
Hmm.
people to outer space, and you don't even have to be an astronaut no more. You just be rich. To your point, just have enough money, you can go out of space. So, but at some point, and maybe we're at that point now, or knocking on the door of it, at some point, technology advances faster than we are responsible enough, that we're mature enough to
Hmm.
handle it responsibly. And so that's some of the evidence that social media, incredible technology, you can get information, right? But we can't handle it responsibly because so many people have anxiety and stress and FOMO and all this stuff. And so we are, as a society, we're going to have to decide what our priorities are. And the humans just don't evolve as fast as this technology does. And, the biggest threat to us, there's only one species as clever as us.
Us,
That's us.
us,
So
yeah,
we're going to have to be really careful.
and diligent, and cognizant. I don't mean to I didn't mean to jump on you, but here's what I mean when I say we can't go back. We have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We are not going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle. And I'm not saying that you're saying we need to go back in time, but
Mm-mm.
there are people, especially in this society right now, who want that.
Yeah, I'm
They
talking
want
about.
that.
I'm talking different stuff about going back about some of the simpler things that we used to
No,
think
I get it. I
were
get it.
good.
But we're gonna.
Yes.
But the technology itself is going nowhere. So we have to be able to cope with it and put guardrails or constraints on it morally with integrity
I
that
agree.
allow us to utilize the technology to the best of our ability. You
That's right.
Yes.
know, and
That's
I
what we're
think
going to
that,
do.
that's what I kind of was emphasizing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm thinking of relationships with people, about how
Yeah.
we used to go out on dates and talk to each other. I remember the time, this is years ago, before I got married, I went to a club and I saw the girls dancing and the guys weren't. They're all out together, but they're not relating to each other. And that's what I mean. I remember when we went to clubs and we were dancing together. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I don't want to go back in terms of where we were in the 60s or where we were in the 20s or where people are trying to take us. I mean, the going back of let's look at each other and talk and listen and have
Mm.
some relationship. And I'm so agreeing with you, Phil and Jarek, about that. We have to advance. We are sitting back and allowing. What was that? What was the film, the animated film, where the little robot goes onto the spaceship and everybody's sitting in these pods and they're fat and they're moving around because they aren't doing anything? Remember that K9? I know you're going to come back with me and tell me what it was. There was this great film because nobody had to do anything. They didn't have to cook anymore. They could push a button. They didn't have to bathe anymore. They could just slide on through the shower. They didn't have to do any of that.
Well, Iona, there's data to back up everything you're saying. So at this point, more than 60% of us have a chronic health issue. Obesity rates are very
Mm.
high. Overweight plus obesity, the majority of the population. We're over 40% of people have two or more chronic health issues. Like, again, we have incredible medications and medical and innovations and all that. We should be healthier than any level people have ever been. Right? We should be our
Hmm.
healthiest now. We might be living longer, but that quality of life in those last years is not there because
Mm.
we have not gotten back, to your point, the basics. The plant-based diet for me is very basic: fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, nuts, legumes, not a whole lot of processed stuff, not a whole lot of added salts and sugars. Basic stuff. And we life is very complex, and we get swept up in that complexity, and we stop critically thinking. We become like we're worried about robots becoming like human beings. I'm worried about human beings becoming too much like robots.
Mm.
We
I
just
think the
follow
tipping
results.
point is very close right now. The tipping
Very.
point is very close right
That's right.
now.
That's right.
It's the simplicity of things, Iona, and that's what I think. That's what I'm taking away from what you're saying. The world
Yes.
has gotten so
Yes.
complex. This thing right here, it holds pretty much so much. I'm trying to put my phone here. It's it's like a magic thing. It's a computer. It's a this. It's a that. It's a stereo. It's everything. Um, it doesn't replace anything. It should enhance everything,
It should
but we use it to
enhance. Yes.
replace
Yeah.
everything. We don't. The kids don't go out because they're on the thing, and they don't want. They're playing soccer here on their
Yeah.
phone. They don't need to go play. No, no, you need to play soccer, metaphorically or actually.
Mm-hmm.
Or else you will be, as the doctor is talking about, dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's going to be in dis-ease, and don't we, as we go along this journey, want to be in the most ease, the most comfort, the most joy, the most connectedness,
That's
and that's what Dr. Jarvik is talking about. That's why I want to talk is we talk about every week is how do we come together, warts and all, and we talk about that here all the time. But we're not willing to interface for some reason. We are really separated, and I'm not quite sure why. I think the answer for me is just for me to be the light that I can be. It is not my business who else brings their light, but it is my business the light that I bring and the understanding and truth that I bring, and that's my answer to all of this.
yeah. Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, you got to control the things that you can control, and to be able to walk the talk is critically important. I have this, and I guess it's because I grew up in East St. Louis and the projects, and was always kind of that, you know, almost kind of this endangered species almost that people talked about. Part of that creates this empathy mechanism in you that you can't shake. And so, anytime I get frustrated, I'm like, oh, people, I just can't. I'm just done. I'm just gonna focus on my thing. I can't do it. I'm like, I can say it a certain way. I can, if I go this way instead of that way, I should be able to get it. I haven't given up on us. I think in some ways to try to put a more positive, kind of bring it back to something more positive. In some ways, we're better off than we were. Not only the technology, but in some ways, people tell these stories all the time about the past and how, wow, we just lived so good. Everybody was just, we all got along. Kids played until the street lights came on and nothing ever happened. And you could go and walk around by yourself. Now I would let my kids walk around. Reality is, when you look at crime statistics from the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was dangerous. We walked around by ourselves, but we probably shouldn't have, right? Those crime statistics were worse then in many ways than they
Mm.
are today. And so we do have this little bit of a nostalgia thing that the past was so much better. And that's not always the case. So we've gotten better as a society in some ways, but we got to stop this train. Like the train wreck is about to happen, and we're sitting here and we're watching this train wreck. And there's some of us like, yeah, this gotta get, but other people are just walking along and just watching that train. I don't want to see the train wreck happen. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be in the train when it
Mm-hmm.
wrecks. And that's part of what you all have talked about, and I think it's part of the purpose of your show from everything I've
Yeah.
heard.
I live in an area of doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs on the hill, but not that far from us is an area of that's more ethnic, and we're in an ethnic area, lower income. So
Yeah.
if I go to the grocery store and I haven't gone to a certain grocery stores I like to go to, I might go to the grocery store in my neighborhood, and I look at the food that's being sold, and I look at the people in line, and I'm like, I see your knees are hurting. If you stretched, they wouldn't hurt. If you put that fried chicken to the side, now wait, now I love fried chicken. Now my husband is all plant based, and I've learned how to make those foods. But every once in a while, I need a rib, I need a chicken. So I'm not going to let go of it. I can't do it all the time, but I'm looking at what is it that we can do to help people know it's not in the bottle. Like you said, they wanted to give you, oh shoot, like you said, you wanted, they wanted to give you medicine, And I thought I fixed it. You said you wanted to give you medicine, and what you found was you could correct where your blood pressure was with food and exercise. We can correct so much. Is it laziness? Is it?
Yes. Sorry, but did
I'm
I
with
say that
you.
too soon?
I'm
Too
with you.
quickly? That's too
Yes.
soon. I don't mean to
Yes.
get hard on people,
Yeah,
but
because you're
yo,
giving it a breath.
yes, we want it now. We want it quick. We
Yes.
don't. You didn't get there
We don't work for it.
overnight. So how you think it's going to leave you overnight? There's a process. I'm sorry, doctor.
I think I think it's yes
Truth,
and
baby, truth.
it's yes and
Sorry.
Yes,
some
and.
people some people you can say it's laziness. Some people it is arrogance.
Ignorance.
Ignorance. Some people are ignorant. They just don't know. Some people are lazy. Some people are just defiant. They want to eat it just because you told them not to.
Yeah.
Some people here's something serious. I was working with a group and putting them through a 12-week program that I designed to help people convert to a little bit more of a plant-based diet. People with chronic health issues, and we had a session. We met every week, and one week we were making this transition, and the young lady was like, "Dr. Conrad, are you crazy? I ain't stopped eating these oxtails. This part of my culture. It's my grandmama make these. I'm not. I'm eating these things." And I joked. I'm like, "You want to live, don't you?" She's got some real serious health issues, and people laugh and blah blah. Well, she came back in the next week, and she met me first, and she was like, that the joke that you told. I was like, "What? I didn't even remember." She's like, "The truth is, when I'm eating like that, I don't care if I don't wake up the next day." And I stopped in my tracks. So this is not just about laziness, and this wasn't about food. This was about a deeper seated emotional or mental
I believe
health
that. Yes.
challenge
Yes.
that this person was dealing with. The food was just the thing to temporarily medicate myself, to take me out of this situation. And so, I have a whole lot of respect for people who might be struggling with something that I would just take for granted. It just doesn't work. I'm a cold turkey, I should say cold plant-based meat kind of person, right? I don't Once I found out the science, by the way, everything I'm talking about, I went and got a certification in. I won't give no advice without having some kind of certification, some kind of authority. I want to learn the science of it. But I'm the person, if you tell me the science of it, I'll make that change overnight, especially since I saw what happened to all my family members. But I had to realize everybody's brain doesn't work that way. So I had to become a whole lot more patient, a lot more empathetic with people. I couldn't get through to my family members, and so I'm determined to try to save other people's family members if I can.
Well, I appreciate. Hold on, let me speak on this for a second. We're talking about lazy. Oh, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
just to throw this out, I want to say that I feel you, and I want to say that my outbursts of frustration and great concern.
Yeah.
I understand whatever the issues are. So I don't want anybody to feel like you talking about me, and I don't want to hear that. I'm telling you, I'm just concerned.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Phil. Thank you, baby.
Yeah, and my outburst of lazy is to wake us up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We need to be scared straight sometimes, and I think we get narcotized into it's a deep seated mental issue. I get it. What isn't?
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent. Iona and I, we talk about on the show a lot. She's the yin, I'm the yang, right? Iona brings this beautiful, and I'm like, yeah, but your shit stinks. My feeling is that if no one could, no one would. Meaning, if no one could come from abuse and succeed, no one would. It's a fait accompli. If no one could come from diabetes or a diabetic background, it's a fait accompli. If no one could come from being black and American, that's just it. You're just going to be repressed. That's it. But we all know stories of redemption. We all know stories of people who pulled themselves up through the worst challenges. So who are you going to be? And I feel like I have a great deal of empathy and a great deal of compassion. Where's the tipping point? Where do we have to hold each other accountable so that we're better and we don't hold hands so we lead them into the jaws of death, metaphorically or actually? And it's for me I'm just speaking for me. I'm not. We talked about this earlier. I'm only an expert. I have lived life. I've seen the people that I love most in the world, as you have, Doctor, go out. They're no longer here. I want to learn the lesson they taught me from what they did not do, where they weren't. There are great lessons there too, and we're afraid. We're afraid of those lessons, and it creates a great void in us because we are not accepting of the yang. We want the yin. We want the comfort. We want it to happen now. We want someone else to do it for us. And it's not my problem. You did it to me. And there's just so much of that. And that's what Iona means about, she's afraid of that being where we are and that we aren't going to pull ourselves out of it. For me, yes, it's a bit of both. It's empathy and understanding. And it's hard lessons. We talked about martial arts. I couldn't be good at it if my Sifu wasn't hard on me. If he didn't give me, no out, I had no out. His question was, I can tell you, can you do it? So for me to be successful, I have to do it. And I have to get over whatever it is that's holding me back from doing that thing. And it's different for everybody. We all need different mentorship. So I appreciate your nuance. I really do.
Yeah, and I tell you what I hear, and I'm closer to you, by the way. I've just, over the years, I've tried to learn how to present a message that was palatable for people, that would get them to actually take a step forward. Sometimes you want to get it off your chest, right? But I have tried to figure out, how do I make, here's the deal. There are always examples of people who overcome incredible circumstances. People who have come from East St. Louis and been way more successful than me. People who come from other challenged communities. So we have all those examples, and the tendency, the brain, the logic, and the emotion behind the brain says, "Wow, if that person did it, anybody could." All you got to do is that person. That person did it, so that person proves that it's possible. Yes. That person proves that it's possible, but that person doesn't prove it's probable. What's probable is when you look at the aggregate numbers, and most people, if most people are still stuck in a certain situation, that says something about the human condition more than the one or two people that can come out. So in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what's happening to most people, and what can we learn about the human condition from that. And then what I'm trying to do, to your point, is not hold their hands and say, "Oh, you don't have to make a change because you're in this tough situation." I'm not giving you that. I'm saying, let's understand that you're in this tough situation. Let's get that. Let's understand that. And let's figure out how to move forward. Because you're in that tough situation, here's what your brain wants to do. You might feel this victim mentality. You might feel frustrated. You might feel, ain't none of them going to get you where you need to go. So I don't want to give people excuses, but I want to let them name what they might be feeling, and for them to know that they're not the only person.
You're trying to find a
No,
way through so
but
they will hear what you have to say.
Right, but that's my
what you
point too.
That's what
In
you
saying,
want.
if no one could, no one would, you're not alone.
And
That's
give an
right.
example that it's possible
Right,
to make
right.
that change, right?
And let's make it likely. Let's make it more than possible. Let's do what we know science tells us will make it likely. That's
Yes.
what it's possible to win the lottery. But
And
most
you
of us
can't-
ain't gonna win it.
You can't take you how many times you take the horse to water, you can't make them drink unless they're going to do the work themselves. You can go to the AA meeting, but if you aren't willing to go through the night, you're going to cry and hurt and need that drink, need that donut, and then get through that night, take it a step at a time. No one could do the work for you. You can tell them all you want and come up with all the sciences there. And I hear you, but you got to meet me halfway, if not more than halfway, and do the work. That's what's most important. And then when we don't do the work, it has to be, you got a personal responsibility. That is such a big thing that I'm finding today. There isn't as much personal responsibility. So I'm looking to you to tell me how to do it. So I'm gonna keep calling you up, Doc, so you can tell me how to do it. And I'm not gonna take responsibility, and I'm not gonna do it.
Look, I got a saying. You know this saying when people say, "Oh, if you know better, you do better."
Yes.
It's not true. It's not true. If you know better, you have the opportunity to do better. And I'd say you got the responsibility to do better. But it's not, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to drink. So I get you on the point.
True. But you can't unknow what you know.
Come on,
You're
Phil.
making a choice. You're making a choice. Okay, so
You're making a
You
choice.
know, we all, I don't want to say we all have a finger on the pulse because a lot of us do not. But many times we understand the choices we're making and we make them anyway. Why do we do that? Comfort. It feels better. I like to be in discomfort. So we have to. You're right. We have to train the body, the brain, the spirit to accept ourselves differently. To
Yeah.
accept the difficult. The hard is just something else. It's not hard. It's just another thing, and we are so afraid of the hard, right?
Oh gosh.
So it's about and when I
Culture
say
cost.
if no one, there you go. When
What'd
I
you
say no
say?
one could,
I got a little thing. I don't know if you can read it, but
You can't.
I talk about culture. I say, don't let culture, cost, and convenience ruin your health. So it's what you're talking about, Phil, is
Mm,
what you're talking about, Alan. That convenience, the culture that says it's okay to keep engaging in behaviors that are self-destructive. And we all know that, it's cheap. You can make a whole lot of money off of destroying us. So yeah, culture, cost, and
right.
believe me, I'm with you all.
oh
I
man,
That accountability piece is a very, very important piece for me. I just try to understand where you are and
Hmm.
how do we move forward.
your heart
Uh,
is brilliant. I mean, your heart is brilliant. Your ability to want to extend that understanding is something that so many people are, and that's what I read about you in the comments about you, is so many people gain such value and relief because they're heard. They're heard,
Yeah.
that's why
regardless of
you.
their issue. They're
Sorry,
heard,
baby.
and I appreciate you. No, no, this is the kind of conversation we're doing tonight.
Hmm. And that's why you were named one of the top 100 HR influencers
Hmm.
twice. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna get to this, but I want to share this with you because a question from K9. Minyango, my husband, percussionist, he plays all over the world. In America, whenever he's looking at a commercial, he's seeing sugar. He's seeing patties. He's seeing all that. And he complains all the time. I'm like, okay, baby. Okay, baby. He just got back from Europe. He was in the UK. He said, I never saw a commercial about sugar. I never saw a commercial about hamburgers. Never saw it. That everyone was supporting, the culture is supporting eating light, eating good food, buying fresh food. So we as Americans, when we talk about this is real, it's in America mostly. We need to look at how are we consuming food that is not healthy for us? How can we use food that is medicine? God, whoever you believe, made those plants. That's medicine right there. Now, as I said, I'm going to have a rib bone. I may have some chicken. And as they say, you got to eat for your blood type. So, not everybody may eat a plant based diet. For me, and I said, that's okay. But watch what is good for you. Because I know if I eat chicken 2 or 3 times in a week, I'm not feeling well. And I
Hmm.
feel a voraciousness in my personality. But if I'm
Hmm.
eating more vegetables and fruit, which I mainly do, but if I'm eating more of them in a row, rather than interrupting them with any sort of meat, I feel better. My body feels better. And it is a conscious decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned this thing, simplicity.
Mm.
For me, I go back to, if you break it all down, why do we eat? Like, what is the purpose of eating? The purpose of eating is for our body to get the vitamins and nutrients and minerals, all the stuff that it needs for our cells to be, for it to do, our body to do our processes, right? That's why we eat. It's
Hmm.
fuel. Right? You've heard these analogies about fuel in the car, and that's why we eat. And so the next question is, well, what is food? Food then has to be technically those things that have vitamins and minerals and proteins and good fats, the nutrients that we need. Therefore, if it doesn't have those things, it's not food, it's a product.
Hmm.
70% of what the average person eats is a product. It ain't
Potato
produce.
chips,
It's a product.
corn chips.
It's space, it's wasted calories. Your body doesn't know how to process it, so you get inflammation and all that. It's not what nature gave us. what we need. It grows on trees. It grows in the field. We know it's what we need because we know chemically,
Mm.
what it has in it and what those things do to our body. When we get sick, we have to have stents and stuff put out. We get our arteries cleared out. They ain't taking fruits and vegetables out of our arteries and stuff. That's not what's
Mm.
blocking us, right? So it's no question what our bodies need because we know how the body works. Our priority in Western cultures is money, and that's what our
Acquisition. Yeah.
priority is. Yeah, so that's why we don't see there are different priorities in different places. Now, over time, a lot of the Eastern cultures, over time, they are starting to have the same disease patterns as us because our fast food restaurants are over there now. In
Right,
the
right.
cities, in the cities, their health is worse than in the rural areas where they're not eating
Yeah.
fast foods and all that. Yeah, people from different parts of Asia can come here and have no high anything, no issues. They're here within 5 years they start to have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. They start to have the issues that we have. Obviously, it's our food, and if you're somebody like me who grew up in a place like East St. Louis with chemical spills and all that, is the
Mm.
environmental toxins and all that. Our bodies are fascinating. Our bodies fight off so much stuff on a regular basis, but we try it. We put more toxins in. We ask our bodies to do too much.
Mm.
We're
I got
organic. We're organic matter. I'm sorry.
no. That's what, go ahead, baby. I got a question from K9. I'm going to bring in. Go ahead. I'll bring in and after you say what you got to
We are
say.
organic matter, and we downplay that. I
That's right.
mean, everything I wear is not this ain't.
Mm.
This is I hear I'm organic matter. So we
That's
have
right.
to pay attention to what that is. It's how we develop everything. That's this plane. This particular plane of existence is organic. So
That's right.
we have
Mm.
to be honorable to that. Doctor, you bring up a huge, amazing point when we're talking about the person who eats because they're trying to solve a problem,
Yeah.
personal problem.
Emotional eating.
Yeah.
Um, how much of that do we have to be conscious of in people? Like our our motivation to do certain things comes from fear, anxiety, pleasure, these very primal urges that then make us act out in certain ways. How do we take stock of that? What do we do to understand those things that then create these behaviors?
I think the first thing is the self awareness, the introspection, to start to understand. Let's see, am I eating these cookies? Every time I get sad, I end up coming home and I make these cookies. And these were the cookies my grandma used to make. And so, is it about the cookies or is it about that connection with your grandmother? And if it's about that connection with your grandmother, maybe you can look at some photos or some videos or have some conversations. Maybe you can get some of what you need without the cookies. We celebrate with food, we mourn with food. It's such a food is ubiquitous, and it's mostly bad food because bad food makes us comfort food.
Comfort
You, you
food.
know, comfort food, like the stuff that they call comfort food, is the main stuff that's going to make us very uncomfortable later in our lives.
Mhm.
It's fascinating. So we got to start to step back and just explore. Why do I eat when I eat? Why does it what am I getting from it? What am I Are there any patterns? Do I notice any patterns in how I eat? How much of those, when I see that burger on the commercial, do I crave that burger? Is that part of it? What's going on? So it really requires a lot of introspection and people starting to journal to kind of understand, if there is it a dopamine thing, you know,
Mm.
sugar,
Mm,
that dopamine.
mm,
Sugar is a drug.
mm. The
That
pleasure,
technically
the
Mm.
pleasure.
sugar is a drug. That pleasure center, we know sugar acts like a drug in many ways in the brain. And and again, this is offensive what I'm about to say, maybe for some people. I've gotten in trouble for this one. So I'm like you on
Come
this one,
with it.
Phil.
Come with it.
So I have a presentation where I'm talking about sugar, and I have a picture, and I got a gentleman. He's giving a lollipop to a little kid that must be 2 years old or something like that. And the title of the slide, I say, "I'm your pusher."
Mm.
Mhm.
He's introducing
Ooh.
the kid to a drug that kid may be hooked on for the rest of his or her life. We do
Ooh.
it to our own kids as parents. We want to make them happy, and we
Yep.
start them on a drug that they're going to struggle with. So some people get mad, about that because you're not thinking about that, right? You're trying to make your kid happy. All kids have lollipops, so it is. Not my kids. We
Nope.
didn't do that because I didn't understand. I'm responsible for taking care of them and keeping them safe. So why do I want to start to introduce things to them that may cause them problems? Now, as they get older and they can start to make these decisions, and I was able to do that until they got in school, and school messed that up for me. But
Yeah.
we don't think about that kind of stuff. We
Yeah.
just take it as natural. And why are we feeding candy to these kids? Who benefits? The candy manufacturer benefits. That's the only person that benefits from this. So
Hmm.
so I can get I
In the
can
weeds
get
on
in
that one.
trouble too. I can get in trouble too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I've got
feel
a
you. I
I've
feel
got
you.
a question that came up a long time ago. Doctor, can you speak to the behavior of human beings you see on a regular basis? What do you notice or see that you wish would change, or are you encouraging their journey based on their circumstances?
Um, I have something that I see. Growing up in the hood in a challenged environment around really poor people and all that. You see and I live in a really kind of a wealthy community now. You see a lot of the same patterns with very, very rich people and very, very poor people, right? I call it this entitlement crisis that we're in. Both groups, you go to the grocery store and the sign says, "Don't put any kids in the cart." Sometimes very, very poor people put the kids in the cart. We're gonna put around and forget them. Then
Hmm.
very, very wealthy people, I make the rules. They ain't gonna tell me no. Same thing, right? So we behave in similar ways for different reasons. When you're very, very poor, you feel like I look what the world has done to me. Look at this situation I'm in. The system is against me. And so I have to bend the rules a little bit because of my situation. I'm justified in bending the rules a little bit because of my situation.
Mm.
On the other hand, very, very,
Hmm.
very rich people, the rules don't apply to me. I make the rules. I'm justified in being in making a look where I am. I'm on top of the food chain. I'm justified in break. And so this entitlement mentality, I think, is pervasive in our society. So that's one of the things that I see often that I wish I didn't
Mm.
see as much.
Do you do you go, and you might do this, do you go into the hood and talk to people about how they're eating, talk to people in the community? How do you do that? What does that look like?
It's interesting. I took a group to a grocery store one time, and I planned. We'd be there for about an hour or so. I had about I don't know, it's about 15 to 20 people, adults,
Hmm.
to the grocery store. My family came with me. My wife, kids came with me. They had to leave me there because we couldn't make it past the produce section because people didn't know what certain type of mushroom. What is that? How do you make that? And so, because we still have food deserts, people don't have access
Right.
oftentimes to high
Mm.
quality fruits and vegetables. And even when they do, culturally, they don't know what it is. Look, my
Hmm.
mother used to say back when I first turned plant based, and she would come visit me. I was living down in Jacksonville, Florida. She's like, "Man, you eating like them. You eating like them." Y'all know
Mm.
who she's talking about, right?
Yeah.
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 White people. White
Uh-huh.
people. Now, my mother looked white herself. You eating like them. And so it's a cultural thing. I tell this story. I was grilling out once. I got the burgers and the hot dogs and stuff. They wanted steaks and all that stuff. And then I got asparagus and some portobello mushrooms and all this stuff on it. And I put all this stuff on a platter, put it in the house. I go out to clean the grill. I come back. Platter is decimated. It's wiped
Hmm.
out except for the asparagus. It's still sitting there. It's the asparagus and a couple of hot dogs that the asparagus was rubbing up against because they didn't want asparagus juice on their hot dogs, right? So they they didn't know what it was. It was different. They didn't
Mm.
even try
Mm.
it. It's a cultural thing.
Right.
They had asparagus in the grocery store when I was little. They had it. We just didn't eat it. And so that's a big challenge when you grow up in an environment like that. We haven't been as exposed to a lot of things. We haven't tried a lot of things. We
Right.
self-select and say this is not for us. Here is our box.
Mm-hmm.
This is the box I'm going to be in.
Ooh.
And I always felt like,
Mm,
look,
mm.
why do they get to do other stuff? Like who are they? Why do they deserve to get things that I don't get just because I was born in this situation? I never accepted that. So I'll try things not because I want to be like anybody else, but because I'm not gonna say here is the stuff that black people do. And so this is the stuff I subscribe to. No, I'm gonna look
Mm.
at that list and say, okay, this I like, this I don't, this is healthy for me, this ain't. You can't take my black card because I don't eat chitlins. You just can't do that. So I've always been like that, even as a young person. I was probably less patient and more direct back then, Phil. But
I
I'm like,
love
no,
it.
it ain't
I
for
Mm-hmm.
love
me.
it.
You know,
That's who I was. That's who I
Mm-hmm.
was about a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It worked for me. I'm good with it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was my truth. I ought
Mm-hmm.
to tell you.
that's
Mm-hmm.
right. That's right.
This is just you are I could throw my hands up. Okay, I'll do. Ooh, this conversation is good. Don't let me say I could. Let me just go on and do it.
It's so good.
You
I
know,
That's,
appreciate
that's
this.
interesting. Yeah.
would you come back
Sure,
and
for
visit us?
sure.
I'd
No,
love to bring you back in next
So much to
year.
cover. So much
So
to
yeah.
cover.
so much. I appreciate what you are doing, the platform that you have. We're speaking from we have our PhDs in life.
Yeah.
You're speaking from your what you have learned by the science, as you say, and that's your journey of how you're speaking to people. We need to see more people like you. I have the same concerns as I go to the grocery store and I see my black brothers and sisters with the potato chips and getting the fried chicken all the time. And when we talk about this is what we should eat, well, in Africa, we weren't eating potato chips and fried chicken.
That's right. That's right.
So that is
And most
definitely an
we still don't.
Americanized way. Still don't. So we do
Yeah.
have to find that place. But so happy that you came in. You've said so much. Is there anything before you leave us tonight that you would
No,
like to share that you hadn't said at all?
first of all, thank you again for having me. Congratulations on your show. I wish you much luck. I know what it's like.
Thank
I've
you.
started a podcast myself, Healthy and Black, and it's a
Mm.
challenge. It's to try and come up with information, with content that will resonate and it will be meaningful for people. So congratulations on what you're doing. I On that point about the PhD, I think that I'm in an unusual kind of a lucky spot where I get a chance to. I've studied the stuff, so I get a chance to take it from a science standpoint. But my life experience, growing up the way I did,
Mm.
I hopefully I'm able to blend the two worlds in a unique
Mm.
way that I hope can resonate with people.
So
It
brilliant.
it feels like it.
So brilliant.
Before you go, I'm sorry, Philly Willie. Before you go,
No,
I do
that's it.
I do want to put this out. Dr. Jarik Conrad has written The Fragile Mind. I'd love to say go to the bookstore, but you can get this on Amazon. He's also written In Search of Humanity, Why We Fight, How to Stop, and the Role Business Must Play. He's quite insightful. And if you go to his website, he also, let's say like a handbook, debunking plant-based myths, a guide for health conscious individuals over 40, under 40 as well. And I'd like to also leave everyone with, before he departs, this is where you can find Jarik Conrad. He is earware. Check this brother out and what he is sharing. It's powerful, and we have just appreciated you so very much.
No, thank you both. Thank you both. I appreciated it, and have a great weekend, Phil. Sounds like you
Oh,
all are in a
thank
lot
you.
of excitement.
Yeah, I can hear him there. They brought the food. It's fish and rice.
Now you're gonna be self-conscious about what it is you eat now. See, that's how I get in my
Never,
own. That's how I get.
As much as
never.
that man works out, let me tell
No,
you, let me
I
tell you.
am. I am
But he can
strong
do
in it,
it.
my brother.
We ain't going
Thank you for being
plant-based,
here.
but we will eat our
Thank you for being
vegetables.
here.
I got you. I got it. That's fair.
Have a beautiful night. We will be in
Thank
touch.
you all
Much
so
love.
much. Take
Our
care.
pleasure. Our pleasure. Our honor.
Well,
Good man. Really good man.
Wow.
Um, brought so much nuance, so much heart. That's what I come away with. A
yes.
people practitioner. That's what I kept looking at. Honestly, because it kept losing. I kept losing, and I'm like, I've never heard that.
I know that
What a
phrase.
beautiful moniker.
Mm,
And he's absolutely that. He's absolutely that. I was very impressed with what he has to say. I think he's absolutely on the money in bringing his experience from East St. Louis, Illinois, to bear on what he's learned in his journey,
mm,
and him being strong in it and understanding where he needed to change. He is the embodiment of what I'm saying about if
mm-hmm.
no one could, no one would. He's that's his platform really, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't think it puts anybody on the sideline or it leaves them, but it actually makes the tent bigger because you feel like you matter. You feel like you can have an impact. You feel like there's somebody else who did it. So, gosh darn it, I can do it too. And we all need more of that. We all need more of that. So, um, so happy to have had him. So happy to have had him.
Good, good. Yeah, I'm glad you liked him, honey. I feel the same way. He was so inspiring and so much. He's not talking at you. He's just bringing
No,
you the information from his heart and from his experience. And when he says that his family is gone because of what they ingested by choice, all of us need to think about that for our families and mainly for ourselves. If it starts with you, they starts permeating around you. And that's what we need to do. The way we take care of each other mostly is to take care of ourselves first. Well, I know you got some food coming, Phil. So let me just throw this out before you leave, my sweetie pie. Hey, everyone, this is where you can find Philly Willie at the Phil Morris. This is where you can find me. I own a lot of gold. I just love that. This is where you can find the show. Follow us. Tell your friends about us. Bring on some people. We love all of you. You know we do. We will see you all next week. Hey, you guys, just so you know, August might be a little dicey because I'm working.
she working.
Phil's doing a bunch of stuff. So if for any reason we're not live on Wednesday, no, we're coming back. But the truth is, we're gonna experiment with recording shows on different days. So then you might not see them live, but you can go see new shows recorded. So stick with us. We love you, and like I always like to end my part of the show is, bye, Philly.
See you, Ona. See you guys soon.